A little while ago, a guy named Rob on Twitter suggested I make a video top 10 eShop games under $5 that are worth buying, and I really liked that idea. So I decided, let's do it. And as I started researching games to put in this video, I very quickly realized there are not 10 games under $5 that are worth buying. There is barely 5 games that are worth buying. So I decided to mix it up and do 5 games under $5 that are worth buying, and 5 that you should definitely stay away from. And trust me, I could have done 20 games worth staying away from. Let's dive into the budget category of the Nintendo Switch eShop. And subscribe and like the video. And leave a well, don't leave a comment yet, wait till the end. Screw it, leave a comment now, I know you're gonna anyway. So much like in a lot of these list videos I make, and oh, I make a lot of them apparently, I like to start with my favorite game first because screw being conventional. And I want to talk about Pan Pan, which is by far my favorite game on this list. In Pan Pan, much like the game Pikmin, you find yourself crash-landed on an unexplored island. There, with the help of some local hooded figures, you begin your quest to repair your ship. Artistically, this game really impresses me. It uses a large array of colors in each area and paints quite a beautiful picture when you put it all together. Very vibrant coloring and many hue changes as you travel across this island. The music is very soft and very relaxing, and every area you go to, the music will slightly change. And when you combine that with the different colors, it gives every location on this island a different feeling and evokes a different emotion. A lot of this game is left up to your own interpretation. The game doesn't explain anything to you, not even how to play the game, which I absolutely loved. You figure all of this out on your own. It had me full of wonder about the world it built, questioning everything as I went through and explored. That to me is what is the most impressive here. So many of these $5 and under games, and the ones I'm not even talking about today, are just so bare bones, basic, simple concepts with really not much going on at all. And this game has so much to offer for $5, from its art to its music to just making that impression on you, a lasting impression. If this game was just a few hours longer, I could easily justify spending $10 on it, but for its length at $5, it is an absolute must if you're looking for a budget title. Okay. Okay. For a game not worth buying, I need y'all to prepare yourself because this next game sounds gross. I don't like ASMR in general when it's done the right way. I don't want to talk about this, but this is gross. It's so unnecessary. I can't stand it. I'm not even sure if the game is good or not because I can't get past 5 seconds of listening to that audio. It is the most disgusting audio I have heard in a video game. I can't handle that. It's too real. It's too sloppy sounding. No, don't buy this game unless that's what you're into, and I'm not judging. From the higher end to the lower end, the next game that's worth it is Square Boy vs. Bullies. And what I mean by the lower end is, I think this game's pretty cool, it's pretty decent, it's not amazing, it's not something that I would normally get up and rant and rave about, but in this bracket of under $5, I was really hard pressed to find a 5th game that was worth recommending, so this one is the 5th game. I love beat 'em ups, it's the name of the channel, I'll take any chance I can to talk about a beat 'em up, so let's just do it. What initially drew me to this game was obviously the old school style. It reminded me of playing games like Double Dragon and River City Ransom back in the day. But let's not compare it to those beat 'em ups because those beat 'em up games are incredible and this one's very basic. There isn't much variation to it, both in the enemies and the gameplay. In fact, you can spam a couple of combo moves and get through this game pretty quick. The main mode is a single player story mode. There is 14 levels featuring waves and waves of enemies to punch and kick around. On the Switch, this game does have co-op, which definitely adds to its playability. It adds to its level of fun. Playing any beat 'em up with a friend or partner instantly makes it better, so playing this game co-op is no different. But if you're looking for a decent beat 'em up under $5 to play with a friend, I would definitely recommend this one at that point. The next game on this list is Energy Evasion, and honestly, it made it onto this list purely because it's a liar. It's a damn liar and should be ashamed of itself. The art of this game and the icon that you see before you load up to play makes you feel like you're about to play some kind of game with a badass chick character in it. You can almost sort of visualize what the game's gonna look like by the art style until you click on it and then you start playing the game and nope, you were lied to. You were so extremely terribly lied to. Energy Evasion is a brick breaker style game where the twist is the ball doesn't actually do a damn thing. Instead, you try to keep the ball alive while shooting projectiles as it bounces. It doesn't feel very good to play, and it's kind of hard to even figure out what's going on. The screen is a mess at all times. I usually don't try to be this harsh on games even when I'm giving them a bad review because I just feel bad someone made this thing, but I was lied to. I was lied to by that icon, and I just don't want to be tricked into clicking on this thing by an attractive thumbnail. Who do you think you are? Wood from Beat 'em Ups? Now, I have heard so many people tell me that Earth Wars on Nintendo Switch is the best game you can buy for under $5. However, I've been so busy playing Dragon Quest Builders recently and gearing up for my review of that game that I have not had time to play it before this review. One of my friends, RGT85, loves this game, and I couldn't think of anyone else to do it more justice than him. So a huge thank you to Sean, who recorded this clip for me. To Sean.
Out of all the games I've purchased on the Switch eShop, Earth Wars is definitely the biggest surprise out of all of them. At only $4.50, I expected Earth Wars to be okay, but what I got was actually a top tier experience. If you've ever played a game like a Vanillaware game like Muramasa the Demon Blade, you sort of know what to expect with Earth Wars. It's highly stylized, it's highly polished, it's about aliens invading and blowing up New York City, and then you have to go to other parts of the US and rid them of this alien madness. It's fast paced, there's tons of big combos, there's upgradable weapons, a huge skill tree to customize your character. It's one of the most fascinating games on the Switch eShop because it's $4.50. You almost feel like you're ripping them off by only paying $4.50. This game actually released on the PS4 for $39.99 and got a physical release, but for whatever reason, when they put it on the Switch eShop, it only was $4.50. Trust me on this one, folks. I got a video up on my channel showing off Earth Wars. It is an amazing game, a highly recommended game by me, and the best $4.50 you're gonna end up spending on the Nintendo Switch eShop.
The next game not worth buying is Woodland Tree Adventures. It's about as exciting as it sounds. It's a platformer game that doesn't look horrible, but it suffers from terrible camera angles. The camera's always getting stuck in a position that really isn't helpful. As far as the actual platforming goes, it's not terrible, it's fine, it gets the job done. It's extremely slow paced, and while playing it, I just kept finding myself asking, why am I even playing this game? If you want to play a fun platformer or collectathon game, I'd save up a little bit more and get something like Snake Pass, or save up a little bit more than that and get Yooka-Laylee. There's a lot of great platformers and collectathon games on the system, and this one doesn't even come close to comparing to those games, even at $5. Speaking of games that make me all nostalgic, I actually really like Kid Trip. Kid Trip is a fast-paced, side-scrolling platformer that's very clearly a mobile game that came to the Switch, but I find it adorably charming and it's a great time waster. It's absolutely one of the better games under $5 on the Nintendo eShop, and while I wouldn't recommend it over a few of the other games on this list that I'm recommending, if you have those or you like the look of this game, it's definitely worth the $4, especially if you have some leftover eShop credit or something like that. It's a great time waster. For me personally, I get nostalgic when I play this game because it reminds me of things I used to play, like Super Alfred Chicken when I was a kid. Definitely better than 90% of the other games I looked at for this video. Energy Cycle, not to be confused with Energy Invasion, is another game I wouldn't recommend buying. And while this one is actually a halfway decent puzzle game, where in each level you have floating energy balls and it's your task to make them all the same color, and as the levels progress, there's more complex patterns that makes the game harder and harder. And as I said, in actuality, it's not a bad puzzle game, it's a halfway decent puzzle game. But my great giddy aunt, does this game look dull. There are so many other artistic choices they could have made. I don't know why they went with this, because it looks harder than hand drawing something, and I would rather have played something that was hand drawn. But there are far better puzzle games on the Nintendo Switch that doesn't look like someone's very boring and confusing acid trip. The next game on this list is Kamiko, and holy moly is Kamiko worth buying. I know I said Pan Pan is my favorite for the list, and that's because I've never had the chance to review Pan Pan before. I actually reviewed Kamiko way back in August of last year. Kamiko came out shortly after the Switch launched and was the first budget game, the first $5 game to come out for the eShop that was actually quality and really fun. So since I already reviewed it, let's see what I said about this game back in August. Even though it's a short game, it's a great game. It'll remind you of Legend of Zelda on the NES in so many ways, and definitely, obviously, the art style being the main way, but the gameplay is definitely very different to Zelda. It has a really great little story to it. It's just a lot of fun. It'll probably be one of the most fun games you spend $5 on. Again, even though it's short, about 5 hours long, you can't say no to $5. It's a great looking game and it's really fun to play. It's a little easy, but $5 is $5. The final game not worth buying is a little gem called My Mom Hid My Game. And if it wasn't digital and I had a mom, I wish she would hide it so I didn't have to play it. To start with, this game is extremely clunky to control, especially in docked mode. It's a point and click style game that in tablet mode you can touch the pad, but holding the pad and trying to click around is really awkward, so your other option is to use the Joy-Cons, and it's really slow, clunky, and frustrating. Controls aside, something I do like about this game is that it doesn't take itself very seriously, and it's obvious they were trying to have fun with it. It's lighthearted, and it gives me a WarioWare kind of vibe. But unfortunately, its very bleak color scheme and graphical style doesn't help the very average gameplay become any more interesting. You click and move stuff in your room, trying to avoid your mom and ultimately get that game over screen. This game is strange and it's sometimes very confusing. It has some decent point and click mechanics, and there was clearly some thought put behind the puzzles. I was actually impressed with the way some of the puzzles were built in this game. So if you do want to take that little bit of enjoyment out of it and you feel like playing that, pick it up on mobile because it's free on mobile and you don't have to pay for it. But even then, it probably wouldn't waste your time. I always feel bad. I always feel bad talking bad about video games. But sometimes you just need to know what not to buy. Well, there you have it. 5 eShop games worth buying and 5 to stay away from. How did I do? Let me know down below in that comment section. Remember to like this video because it really helps. Subscribe because we become best friends. But yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And on a serious note, not that any of that wasn't serious, while these lovely Patreon names scroll down here, I want to fill this time right here. You know, this time that I always try and fill with something before I make that really awkward last joke that sort of just gets cut off by my end card. You know, the way I end all my videos because I'm not funny. I want to fill this time by saying that I love you guys. And I just appreciate the fact that you guys give me a platform to create whatever I want. Whatever it is I feel like making, a list video like this or a clickbaity video. So many of you are so supportive of anything I do. And I just want you guys to know that I do it out of love of video games and out of love and my passion for YouTube and you guys. I love being a content creator. I love what I do. And that's what gets me up in the morning doing all of this stuff, and I can never say thank you enough to all of you and all of you scrolly names for making all this possible by liking, commenting, and subscribing, because it does really help. I love you and I appreciate it. And now for my really awkward end joke. Wow, that was a really weird dance I just did. I didn't mean to do that.